far greater. He's given you far greater. You're living a standard of life that is below that of a child of the King. I'm glad I don't go to the places I used to go. I'm glad I don't serve the gods of the world anymore. He said, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the God of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I'm sure you've probably heard it before. I was saved whenever I was either 9 or 10 years old. I lived in the world neck deep in sin till I was about 20, 21 years old. Neck deep in sin. The first time God ever spoke to me, Mark, I was 18 years old, and God told me I was going to preach, and I laughed. And I said, there's no way. I said, there's no way in the world, God, I'd take a zero before I'd stand before a crowd of people. There's no way. He said, yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. I'd already laid down a lot of the things that I was doing. I was searching for a wife. And God put Lori in my life. I was about, I guess we was 19, 20 years old, wouldn't we? And God put Lori in my life. And I started seeking. I wanted more. I was tired of all the things that I was doing. And I look, it doesn't matter what I was doing, but I was doing some bad things. And I was tired of living like that. God began to speak to my heart, and he began to tell me again. Lori and I had done got married by this time. Megan was a baby. Whenever she got born, the Lord told me again, he said, you're going to preach. And I said, no, I'm not. And he used Megan. Still stirs my heart. He used Megan to let me know real quick, like, you either serve me or I can take her just as easily as I give her to you. I still ran. Still living in fear. Are you listening to? Are y'all listening? I'm talking about saved, but living over here in Egypt. And he told me, he said, I can take her just as easy as I give her. Jordan, I believe, was a baby. First week in August was revival at Wahoo. Werner London was the pastor. I don't even remember who was preaching that meeting. I don't remember his name. I can see him, but I don't remember his name. God, the Holy Ghost, had been dealing with me for weeks and months. We'd go to Wahoo on Monday night, John, and we'd pray on Monday night. Wasn't even allowed to go inside the church. They wouldn't give us a key to go inside the church to pray back then. We're spiritual. We don't want a bunch of heathens in there praying. We'd go pray on Monday night. Summer and winter. Wrap up my winter time with coveralls and coat. Pull it over our heads and lay on that porch and cry out to God. The whole time I was running. I wasn't doping. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't living in too bad a sin. But I was still in Egypt. God was wanting me over here. It's like some of you today. He's wanting you over here. He kept telling me, I want you to preach. And I said, I can't. Instead of saying now, no. I said, I don't want to. I can't. I'm not able. God the Holy Ghost hemmed me up on a Wednesday morning. The altar at Wahoo. Lori was at work. I was building houses and taking care of chickens. I crawled up under that altar and I began to pray. And I give in to God because it was so hard and so heavy to carry that load. And I said, okay. I said, if you'll let Verner say. No. I got up and I went back to my seat. And between getting up out of the altar and coming back to my seat on the front right over there at Wahoo, I backed out. And while I was standing there, God the Holy Ghost said, I'll kill you if you don't do what I want you to do. And I'll put you in a grave. I still didn't know the voice of God enough. And I said, Lord, I said, if it's you, and you're really dealing with my heart about preaching, you tell Verner to say, has anybody else got anything to say? He was closing the service down. He was fixing to say, you're dismissed, go home. And all of a sudden, he stops in his tracks. And the Lord said for me to ask, has anybody else got anything to say? And I broke. I said, yeah, I do. I didn't sign up for this. But it's been the greatest rewards I could ever imagine. God sure has been good to me. I chose this side instead of that. Girls are going to sing a verse or two. That's the message. Maybe today you say, I choose God. I choose this side. Would you come as we stand together? God the Holy Ghost speaking to your heart. Would you be obedient? That's the message.
Do you remember when you were drowning in the sea of sin, going down for the last time, when you called upon his name? He reached down his nail-pierced hand, and he lifted you out. So remember where you were back then, and thank him for